This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Got some big updates to share with you. Gas prices are continuing to rise. I'll let you know the reasons why, according to one Democrat and one Republican. I'll play you those video clips. One state is giving out $500 hazard pay checks in the form of premium pay to essential workers. Also, summer bonus stimulus check of $850 by direct deposit is proposed for June. And bonus one-time stimulus check of $500, $375, or $250 in tax refunds for millions of taxpayers in this state. And Democrats have just proposed one new bill, which is Yachts for Ukraine, selling oligarchs' yachts to help out with Ukraine. I'll give you some other important updates as well. Hope you're having a more than mundane Monday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. And I'm giving $200 to my subscribers. I'll talk more about that later on in the video. But first, Congress tees up a plan to seize Russian yachts and properties in the U.S. and sell them for Ukraine aid. So this is a bipartisan effort. So both Republicans and Democrats are trying to get this passed. Hasn't really passed yet, but take a look at one representative talking about this right here.
I know that you are sponsoring a bill aimed at taking oligarchs' money to help rebuild Ukraine. Talk to me about that.
Yes, absolutely. We call it Yachts for Ukraine. And the message that we're sending to all these oligarchs, many of whom seem to think they can just ride this out, sitting on their yachts in the Mediterranean, not worrying about the war or confronting their enabler, the war criminal Vladimir Putin, about what he's doing. We're sending a message to them that you can't ride this out, because all those assets that we say we seize now, they're going to be seized permanently, and they're going to be used to rebuild Ukraine. The whole motivation here is to get them to actually confront Vladimir Putin and stop this war. That's the point behind these sanctions. But if the oligarchs don't get the message that their assets are gone, not for a few weeks, but gone permanently, then they won't confront Putin. That's what this bill tries to do.
What are your thoughts on that? Is that a good idea, bad idea? Seizing billionaires, Russian billionaires' yachts, and then selling them and then giving the money to Ukraine? Let me know your thoughts on all that down in the comments below. Also, a third of Americans expect their finances to get worse this year. So just when we thought it couldn't get any worse, seems like it probably will for most of Americans. So 32% of Americans expect their finances to worsen through the year, according to University of Michigan. That's the largest share since the University Sentiment Survey started in the mid-1940s. Inflation has been the biggest issue weighing on Americans amid a largely healthy recovery. So inflation is just that silent tax that hurts the lowest income people in our country. So there are a few things going out. I'll keep you updated on that. So Massachusetts to start mailing $500 premium pay checks to eligible essential workers. So these are basically hazard pay checks in the form of premium pay. So what's going on here is Governor Charlie Baker's administration announced that around 500,000 low-income essential workers will be the first to get the payment as part of the Essential Employee Premium Pay Program. So this is so it called for payments between $500 and $2,000 to be sent to essential or continued to work in person throughout the height of the pandemic. So this is people who worked during the 2020 pandemic. They're going to get basically a retroactive hazard pay $500 check in Massachusetts. And then summer bonus stimulus check of $850 by direct deposit proposed for June. So what this is in Maine. So Maine's governor proposed $850 checks to go out to people, and I guess it's going to not go out until June. And then $100 a month to help offset California gasoline price spikes. Congress is thinking about it. So this is not just for California, but this is actually a federal gasoline stimulus payment of $100 per month, $100 for each dependent as well. So this still hasn't really moved forward. There's still it's getting a lot of press, a lot of publicity, but it hasn't moved forward in Congress yet. No vote and no date of when they're going to plan on voting that. And then a bonus one-time stimulus check of $500, $375, or $250 in tax refunds for millions of taxpayers in this state. So this is going on in Georgia. And the way that their stimulus checks are worked out, if you're married or filed with your spouse, you can expect $500 Head of household will receive $375, and single filers or those who filed separately will get $250. So those are the three different stimulus check amounts that are going out in Georgia. Still no federal check at this moment. And then also, why gas prices have soared in America? So we're going to hear two different perspectives here, one from the Republican perspective, one from the Democrat perspective. And of course, because they're in different parties, they have different reasons of why the gas is going up. So first up is Republican Senator Barrasso of why gas prices and inflation is up so high. Take a look at this.
And of course, the shortage of so many supplies has sent inflation spiking, oil prices spiking. President Biden keeps blaming Vladimir Putin for the increase in gasoline prices as we see the numbers near record highs this morning. I want to show you a timeline that we have put together in terms of inflation. The inflation timeline begins back in January 2021 when Joe Biden first took office. The inflation rate was at 1.4%. It's at 7.9% right now. And of course, in March of 2021, the inflation rate spiked to 2.6% when Biden signed the $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill into law. And then by July of 2021, the Democrats were proposing even more spending. They wanted a bill that many say was actually $5 trillion. They said it was $3.9 trillion budget plan. And that sent the inflation rate up to 5.4%. And then you fast forward to November of 2021 when Biden signed in the $1 trillion infrastructure package, and the inflation rate was at 6.8%. And so, yes, the war in Ukraine added to it, taking the inflation rate up to 7.9%. But we know that inflation was bubbling up throughout Biden's presidency and throughout his first year in office. What is the answer to getting this inflation off of the table for American families who are spending all of their disposable income on much needed goods?
Yeah. Well, a lot of it is a Republican Senate and a Republican House to stop this reckless spending by this administration. Joe Biden cannot hide from the fact that he is the president of high gas prices. When he came into office, gas was affordable and we were energy independent. And fast forward 14 months, as you just showed, we are now dependent on foreign sources of energy. And if you want to fill up your tank, you end up having to empty your wallet. These are the Biden policies that have done this. And the Democrats' answer is send checks out. If energy prices are more than $4 a gallon, send people money. The answer, that's going to make inflation worse. And we're at a 40-year high. The answer is, and 70% of the Americans see this, it's more oil and gas development in this country and less focus on this climate extreme agenda. We have the energy in the ground here. We need to get it out. The president needs to announce that we're going to produce more. We're going to help our European allies. Europe gets it. Europe sees the fact that they made a terrible mistake with becoming dependent on their enemies for energy. Biden is sleepwalking. He's continuing to march to the tune of the liberal elites on this. We saw it again over the weekend. We need to be more independent of any sources. We need to be self-sufficient energy-wise. We have it. We got to get it out of the ground. And it's the policies of this administration that have been stopping us.
What are your thoughts on what Senator Barrasso has to say? Seems that the Republicans are blaming the Democrats. Is that going to be the case when I play you the video of the Democrat talking about the reasons for inflation and other things? Let you know in a moment. But Biden's job approval falls to lowest level of his presidency amid war and inflation fears. So 7 in 10 Americans express low confidence in the president's ability to deal with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, as his approval fell to 40% in the new NBC News poll. Let me know your thoughts on that. How do you think about President Biden doing his job in the office? Good job, bad job. Would you vote for him in re-election? Would you not vote for him? Let me know your thoughts on all that down in the comments below. So now the Democrat perspective, Ro Khanna saying there's no support in the Democratic Congress for regime change. This is coming after President Biden made those remarks about President Putin of Russia. Take a look at this of the reasons why for inflation, high gas prices, and a few other issues here. Take a look at this.
Swing to politics because inflation is raging. The Fed is raising interest rates. In California, the average price of gasoline is $6 a gallon. Yet the president keeps talking about we've got to move toward the green agenda. We've got to move toward the green agenda. A green agenda is fine if you do it over the course of decades. Even if you gave everybody in the country an electric vehicle for free and you converted every home to electric heat, the grid wouldn't stand it. So you got to update the grid as well. I mean, is it a time to put a pause on the push toward the green agenda and say, look, for the meantime, we've got to pump more oil. We've got to help out our European allies. We've got to get prices down.
Well, we can do both. Let me say something common sense. Short-term increased production. Here's one way to do it. The federal government can buy back what we're using in the Strategic Petroleum Reserve and provide a floor price. That's a bipartisan proposal. Let's pass it. Long-term, let's have a moonshot on clean technology. If John F. Kennedy said that we need to go to the moon to defeat the Soviets, you want to defeat the petrostates of Russia, Iran, Venezuela, Saudi Arabia? Let's have a moonshot on renewable energy. So let's have the short-term increase of production, long-term a moonshot on renewable energy.
So in terms of the November election, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said in recent days that she thinks that the Democratic Party is in trouble because of the president. Listen to what she said.
This is really about the collapse in support among young people, among the Democratic base, feeling like they are not, that they worked overtime to get this president elected, and they aren't necessarily being seen.
Is she right?
The president has done an extraordinary job. We've passed the American Rescue Plan. We've passed infrastructure. Here's the biggest thing we ought to highlight. $20 billion Intel is investing in Ohio. You talk about the revitalization of the Midwest. We're delivering. Let's pass the CHIPS Act, get it to the president. Of course, there are other things we ought to do, but this president has met the moment in very difficult circumstances.
Americans might disagree with you. His approval rating is only 40% in the latest Reuters Ipsos poll. Just before we go, I want to ask you a question about your book, because the political discourse in this country has sunk to new lows. Everybody's yelling at each other, and much of the reason why they're yelling at each other is because of social media. Is social media ruining this country?
No, but social media needs to do better. Several things that they need to do better. They ought not to have incitement of violence. They ought not to discriminate against viewpoints, allow for free speech, and they ought to make sure that teenagers aren't getting manipulated in ways that are causing depression and suicide. So absolutely there need to be more smarter regulations on social media.
So regardless of your party affiliation, whether you're Republican or Democrat, personally I'm an independent, but I'm wondering which side do you agree with more, the Democrats' perspective or the Republicans' perspective? Let me know your thoughts on all that down in the comments below. And that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Oh, hi guys. Hi guys, this is Bella. This is the tip of the day. I want to tell you the one thing you should do. Remember when you were a kid, you always used your imagination in your mind. That's why it's called imagination. Imagining what you're thinking about. And remember that when you were a kid, you use your imagination for like anything, like movies. You watch the movies, you imaginate yourself with it. You may sometimes when you're watching cool movies, use your imagination to do the same thing if you want. And also, can I tell you something? I watched a movie and now I'm all about it. And now I'm a Ghostbuster. Like this one you shoot out light and it makes the ghost disappear. And this one you tap it like this and it makes you disappear. Make the ghost disappear. So that's all I wanted to tell you. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate all of your support. So don't forget, giving out those $200 checks in just a couple of days, so you have a little bit of time left. I have details to that down in the description below. Here's another video clip of the kids, and hopefully you had a great weekend and you have a great Monday as well. If you want to check out my latest videos on my other channels, you could click up here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.